All right, we are live. We're getting there. And I need to bring in my Amazon stream here real quick. And we'll get moving. I'm not sure how much of this we're going to get done today, but we're going to try our best. All right, there we go. So I just got to find one more thing, and then we can get the proverbial ball rolling. Now, all of these items came in free of charge by the manufacturers, but they have obviously not reviewed or approved anything I'm about to do to evaluate their products. And all I'm looking for here is my other phone, because one of these things works with Android phones and the other with iPhones. Here it is. Okay, now I got it. Is that it? That is not the one. That is not the phone I'm looking for. So yeah, it's going to be one of those streams where we take things out of the box and see what's in them. And that's kind of the game plan here. So as soon as I find that other phone, we'll get moving. I think what I'll do, though, is just start. And then things will find their way to me as we go. So why don't we start going. So all of these things, with the exception of this, are game controllers. And Skulls has one of the 8-bit pads, and I am doing good, thank you. And Recipe Bob is here as well. I should probably add the Nintendo Switch to this stream on Amazon, because there is a Switch that will be part of this, because two of these things work with the Switch. So let me find that real quick. And we'll keep going. This actually works with the regular Switch and the OLED Switch. So there you go. All right. So yeah, let's do the easy one first, which is the RetroFlag. This, I would say, let me move these out of the way here real quick. This, I would say, is kind of like the novelty gift component here. And what this one is a charger for your, this is like a very specific product here. So this is a charger for your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, okay? So let's open it up and see what's inside. And this will probably be a extras channel review. And Anthony Gwynn, his 2 cents on the 8bitdo wireless. Skip it. The Switch version comes with the Hall effect sticks, but can't be used in X input. The 2.4 gigahertz has to be used with the dongle. Oh my goodness! So we got a lot to unpack on that one. All right, we'll take a look at it. Yeah, it seems like they're getting away from their whole retro thing and just kind of making regular controllers now, right? All right, so this is from a company called RetroFlag. Let me get my other camera angle dialed in here. And these guys make some really neat stuff. They do these retro-inspired products. This one is a charging dock for your Nintendo Switch controllers. And I guess the controllers will dock into that. And let's see what else is in the box here. I have not tried the new, I'm actually not a developer. So I haven't tried it yet. Nor will I probably won't even get to it. Romeric here, hello. Lewis Knight is here. And it looks like a lot of you got this 8bitdo controller already. And the Skull is here. I guess we already said hello to you. And then Eddie, 04TV. I usually try to avoid using third-party tools in the Nintendo. Yeah, they can be a little crazy there. So what this is a controller charger for the Switch. This is a very specific kind of product. It does not come with a charger itself, but it's got a USB-C to USB-A cable here. So let's plug it in and see what happens here. And what it does, beyond charging your Joy-Cons, this one looks like a little Famicom, is that it has a little holder here for your Nintendo Switch cartridges that go inside of this. So it's just kind of a design decision. And then you have a choice of stickers that you can stick on there. So they have two options here. I will probably go with the bottom one. These look like the same games. No, maybe not. Yeah, one's nope, Double Dragon. So it looks like all Konami except for Double Dragon, which was Trade West. But I'm going to go with the Contra one. That was one of my favorite games. So we'll stick on the little sticker here. All right, and then that goes in there. All right, so now I have it plugged in. And let's see what happens when we slide these in. So this one goes over here. So it looks like, I didn't realize how these charge. I guess there's like a little catch inside of this or a connector that will charge them. So that lights up red. Give you the overhead. And then we'll plug the other one in over here. And there you go. That is it. That's all it does. And then you can use that to pop the little fake cartridge out. Pretty cool. That's it. So it's just a novelty gift. I think if you have a friend who's like a big retro fan, you know, kind of a gift idea. So the cartridge is not functional. You put your cartridges in there. So there you go. That is that. And Mr. Nate Dogg experimented with Batocera on his Pi 4 last night and was able to get Xbox One X to controller via Bluetooth. I haven't played with that either. I'm behind the times here. Yeah, one of the things that I like about the 8bitdo controllers, because I have actually here's my favorite 8bitdo. I got this is the SN30 Pro Plus or whatever it is. What I've always liked about this one is that it works with the Switch. You got a Switch here at the bottom, and it's got a great D-pad. So for the Switch games that use the D-pad, this is a very good way to go. And then it's X input compatible, so it works with the PC. So that's one of the things I'm looking for on that other one. So all right, so there you go. So we got that going. And while we have the Switch out, I think what I'll do is look at the next one here. But that's it. There's no other charging on this. So this is strictly to charge your Joy-Cons. And it only does 2 of them. So you're not going to do more than that. So, you know, very limited in its purpose. But if you are someone that's into retro gaming and you have 2 extra Joy-Cons, you could charge 2 in the Switch console itself, then the other 2 on here. That's kind of what you do with it. Sam Lazar is here. Good morning to you. And it's becoming late afternoon here in the United States of America. All right, so now we're going to open up the next box here. This is another RetroFlag product. And this one is kind of like a GameCube-inspired controller add-on. So let's see what this deal is here. So this is for the Nintendo Switch. It doesn't collapse or fold up or anything. They say it works with the OLED one and with the regular one, which I have. Now it has a USB-C connector here, but this is strictly for a pass-through, it appears to me. So I don't think there's actually anything that it provides data-wise. And my understanding with this, and you might need to charge it, so let's charge it real quick and see what happens here. My understanding with this is that it actually connects over Bluetooth. So if I plug power in, let's see, maybe it draws power from the switch. Let me take a look at the instructions here. Just trying to understand how this one works. Okay, so compatible with the Switch and the Switch OLED model. You need to be on version 3 or above for your Switch. Oh, it is wired. Okay. So I think it actually communicates over the USB. Let's try it out and see what happens. So we have my Switch here. This is an OG Switch. And thank you for the super chat, Yum Raisin. It'd be nice if that Famicom Switch is a dock for, yeah, it would be cool if it was a dock for, but that's all it is what you see, unfortunately. And Michael is joining us late night in Spain. Hello there. All right, so let's do a dockaroo here. And it doesn't quite align well here. Let's see. Yeah, do a little bit of machination to get it in there. It does feel nice. You know what's funny is that it's kind of big, right? But yeah, so this is not a wireless connection. Let's double check. Yep, so it's showing as a USB connection. And I have a battery level, although I suspect that's, I'm not sure what the battery level is that it's indicating, because I don't think there is a battery on this. But it feels pretty good. It actually, here's what it looks like. You know, it's funny now that I have the Steam Deck, like this size is not offensive to me anymore. My only gripe, I would say, it definitely has a GameCube feel to it. Like it feels like a GameCube controller. Let's load a game up here. So maybe I'll load up, you know what we could do? All my games are upstairs. Maybe I'll do the Nintendo NES games to see how those play out on this. So the camera button here does have a button on it. Let's read some of your comments here. So these, if you're talking about this, yeah, it's not actually a Joycon actually, it's an entire slide-on controller. So I've got to select the right thing on my Amazon thing here. So this is about 50 bucks. Oops. And we'll go to the, it definitely has the feel of a GameCube. Like as far as how the controls feel. So this stick is very snappy. The other thing I'm noticing is that it does not have analog triggers, which I do believe the Pro controller on the Switch does have. Thank you, YouTube, for the kind words. Wouldn't it be cool if that was like the real YouTube? That'd be awesome. All right. And yeah, it works for the OLED and for the regular one. So as you can see, I have the regular one. So apparently these side portions here will not cover up the OLED screen. So both work on this. And Alexa says it's kind of a mix between the Switch. Yeah, so it's got like the same layout as the Switch. And what I think You know, the issue that I have with it is that although this stick feels okay, doesn't have a lot of travel to it, this stick feels like the camera stick on the GameCube. So let's take a quick look here. I'm just curious how this plays out. Let me go back. Let me go back to the game selection. Let me play something that's like a little bit more D-pad heavy. I haven't loaded this up in a while, as you can see. Here, I'll do the Super Mario Brothers 3 special. The D-pad feels good. You know what's a good test for the D-pad is Tetris 99. Let's try that real quick. But it feels very comfortable, I would say. I mean, compared to how the Joy-Cons typically feel in your hand, this is a lot more comfortable because it's got some sculpting to it. And I almost wonder if it didn't have the gimmickry of this, if it would be a really decent replacement controller. Because the stick doesn't feel bad to me. And I guess the travel isn't any different than... Here, let me do a quick Tetris 99 match, and then we'll move on to the next controller. Let's see how it plays. But it feels very, you know, one of the things that RetroFlag does very well is they come up with really nice products that have a good feel to them. But I don't know if they're doing themselves any favors here by replicating how the old stick, because this stick feels different than this one. But if there's a D-pad issue, I'm going to feel it with this game. Let's see. And you can all critique my Tetris playing skills. I have not improved my technique since I was 13. So you kind of get locked into your... Wouldn't it be cool if I actually won a match, like right now, doing this live stream? That would be awesome. Oops, see? That's where I start making mistakes, and then it all goes downhill from there. Yep, so now I'm getting caught here. Now, see, the pressure's on. It's all of you watching me. I'm totally messing up everything right now. Let's see if we can save it. Sometimes I can pull out of despair here. And I'll look at your comments when I'm done. But if you haven't played Tetris 99, I think you should, because it is a great game of Tetris. We're getting there. You see how one mistake, though, in this game in particular, really messes you up, because you've got all of the other players who can send these garbage pieces your way, and it totally messes you up. So I first got introduced to Tetris when I was a kid. My cousin was going to Dartmouth, and this was right when Tetris came out on the Mac, and they were all addicted to it on his campus. And so that's when I first got to see Tetris. This was the Spectrum Holobyte version that ran on the black and white Mac. And they had names for all the pieces. So the long piece, he would call the pile driver. So when you had a good pile driver, it made for a good clearing of the decks here, if you will. Yeah, I'm not doing very well here at all now. Oh, shoot, that's it. But you get the idea. So I will say, the D-pad is very firm. Let me try one other. Let me go back to Super Mario 3. I'll actually just load up the regular thing there and see how that goes. Carol is here. Hello there. Yeah, I could blame it on the controller. I'm trying to be objective in my in my review here, but the good news is it doesn't consume any power. I'll have to do my usual measurement of the input lag, but it feels pretty good. Again, my only reservation is just the way this feels, because these sticks feel different than each other. So they feel like the GameCube sticks do, and I don't know if that was a good call. Here, you know what we're going to do? We're going to punish ourselves. Let's see, let me go back down to, where's Ninja? Is there like a regular Ninja Gaiden on this thing? I don't see it. Let's see, because there's special. Let's try it. I forgot how to get up there, or I have to go this way maybe. Yeah, D-pad feels fine. It feels firm, so it's not as squishy as the NES one is. And E.C. Myers says that Super Mario 3 is a great way to test for accidental diagonals. You make Mario... let's try it. We'll give that a go. Let's go back then. So let's go down to Super Mario 3. So when I was a kid, I had a local video store that got the Japanese version of Super Mario 3. And I guess I have to get my... Yeah, I think it feels pretty accurate. So the question about how the controller is powered. So this is powered through the USB port. So this shows up as a... I messed that up too, didn't I? This shows up as a USB Pro controller. So the best way I can describe this is that it feels a lot like a GameCube controller. So if you like the way the GameCube controller feels, then this will feel the same. And the problem for modern games let's see. Is Ghouls and Ghosts available on the Switch in any form? Let me try one other thing, because I think on here, if I play Zelda, I found to be a good one too to test out. Let's try that. Let me reset the game here. What did I do wrong here? I thought I had started a game with this one, but I guess not. My wife is like addicted to Zelda. She plays it over and over again. And I try to get her into a different Zelda game, and you just can't, she just won't do it. All right, let's take a look. You know, yeah, it struggles a little bit on the diagonals, doesn't it? So you can't really rock back and forth too easily. And this will be something to look at when we look at the other controller. See, that's how it's supposed to be. But you're all over the place because it doesn't rock. It's got that really firm. You know which one would be good? I don't know. I don't think it's on here. Contra would probably be good to check this way too. And E.C. Myers thinks that, let's try that then. So let's go, so there's one example of some issues perhaps. And by the way, I don't think there's a rumble motor in this either. And I don't know, do I have, I think I have the Super Nintendo one. Yeah, because that's part of, I don't have the online upgrade account or whatever they call it, but. I have to re-download it real quick. And EC is a controller junkie. Yeah, it's funny. I never knew that my wife was into Zelda until we started dating, and then I had it on my computer. I was showing her. I had it running in an emulator. I forgot how she discovered it, but she's like, "Is that Zelda?" And then I didn't see her for like a week after that. Now, I did not know this, but the Famicom Super Mario Bros. 3 is good for a little extra challenge. Oh, right, because they changed some of it's different than the U.S. one, right? And Ravaging Wolverine, oops, beat Ninja Gaiden earlier this year. It's a hard game. There was this Japanese show where the guy like has to sit down and play the game until he finishes it. I forgot the name of it. I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but it was just fun to watch the poor guy. Now, you see what just happened there? I was on a plane with my Switch, and I couldn't play half the digital games in my library because it didn't have an internet connection, even though they were already downloaded to it. That really bothered me. I did a whole video on it. I should have known better, but... All right, so I'm looking for ghouls and ghosts. It's in here somewhere. Super Metroid, Earthbound, Punch-Out. You can see how often I've looked at this thing, right? Now, again, I don't have the upgraded thing, so I may not have ghouls and ghosts in here unless I'm missing it. I almost feel like the library has gotten smaller since they did this. Yeah, I don't see. Oh, here it is. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Okay, there we go. So I was not aware of this, but in the Famicom version, if you have a tail or a suit when you get hit, you go to Small Mario instead of going to the Big Mario. It's kind of funny how what they thought of Western gamers, right? Like that we couldn't handle it. Can't handle it. All right, let's see how it does here. I love how in the Super Nintendo, they try to do a few things to show off the console's prowess, right? Some scaling effects. Oop, I'm off to a great start already. So in this version, you can't shoot up. Is that right? So I know on the Genesis I can shoot up. Oop, try again. So I cannot get him to shoot up. So no, I know for certain the Genesis one shoots up. Now, what should I be looking for on this game? Because again, my experience has been mostly on the Genesis version. You know, it's funny, James Randolph. I shared this on my link blog today, so you'll see it on my Twitter feed and on my Mastodon. There's been some developments in the community for speed running the Japanese Super Mario 2. They were able to shave over a second off of the minimum time. And I was just watching it this morning. It was pretty fascinating to see like what these people go through to try to make these games or complete these games faster. Especially, yeah, the slowdown is pretty bad in this game, isn't it? I can't believe they shipped it this bad. This is awful. And it kind of fed into Sega's dialogue at the time about blast processing, right? Yeah, I will say it locks in super tight, for sure. I mean, it's in there really nicely. So if like it's going nowhere. The only problem is that it's not. It's not aligning. Like you have to kind of flex things a little bit to get the plug to go in. So you have to put a little bit of pressure on it to get it to seat. But once it's in there, it's not going anywhere. And then it'll pass through charging on there too. And then here it's got like a nice felt backing on it too. Oh, I think it might. Let me take a look and see. Let's see if it has the allow diagonals in there. Let me plug it back in here. Yeah, so that's the only thing I have to do here is kind of like position it a little bit. And it could just be that my switch is old and warped. All right, let's see if I can go to the options screen on here. So I don't see anything about allow diagonals in here. Yeah, I don't see anything on diagonals there. Oops, unless there's something in the... yeah, I'm not seeing anything there. Mirror Trunks has a Steam Deck. I have one too. I love it too. It's great. Yeah, it's funny with this controller on. This is kind of in about the same size as the Steam Deck, but yeah. So I would say if you like the way the GameCube feels, then you're going to like this. I think Smash players are probably going to like this because of that. It's got a very familiar GameCube feel to it. The problem I have with it is that it feels like a GameCube. So the D-pad is not ideal for D-pad games. It's pretty stiff. The diagonals are definitely an issue, right? And your control sticks feel different. So, I mean, they feel like they have the same amount of travel to them, but they feel different. And Kevin is here. Hello there. Yeah, we're just testing out some game controllers today. All right, so let's take a look. Let's do the 8bitdo one next because we have the switch out. And then I can make use of my kickstand on my switch here. Play around with that. And then the last one we'll look at is the GameVice stuff. But before we do that, we need to unbox the 8bitdo controller. And I'm ruining the box, but that's okay. So this is, by the way, the ultimate controller from 8bitdo. Now, the big question is, will it best my favorite one of theirs, which is the Pro 2? So that remains to be seen. But let's take a look and see how this looks. Jesse wants to know, do I think they will ever sell the Steam Deck in stores? I don't think so. I think they're going to sell direct because the platform is, I think, very important to the profitability of the device. So here is the controller. Definitely has an Xbox feel to it, but smaller than the Xbox. And you have a switch here at the bottom. Somebody was talking about this earlier. There's a 2.4 and a Bluetooth. And I don't see a mode switch like the old one, but I suspect there's probably some button combination for that. And you also have a dock, if I don't drop it, that is used for charging. And at the bottom here, there is a dongle. This is the 2.4 receiver. And I'm guessing you get slightly better motion or input lag out of the dongle versus the Bluetooth. That docks in like so. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And what else do we have in here? And Skulls says, so Skulls, do you have this one or this one? Because what I like about this one is that it still feels like a retro controller. It's like a mix of the PlayStation and Super Nintendo, kind of in one deal. And what I've always liked about it is that you have a switch here at the bottom to just put it in. You know what mode it's in just by looking at it, which I always thought was pretty nice. All right, the instructions are lengthy, which we'll look at in a second here. And then we also have a USB-C to USB-A cable in the box here. All right, so let me switch to what we're currently working on here. So I think what I'm going to do is borrow this plug just to keep it charging here. Let's see what happens. Oops. Okay, there we go. So you see that blinking? That tells us that it's charging there. All right, so let's take a look at the instructions first. It looks more than it is because there's different languages on here. All right, so let's take a look here at the plans. So we got all of our buttons here. I'm just looking through here. Plug the 2.4 into the charging dock, then connect it to your Windows device. Plug the 2.4 gig receiver into the charging dock, and then connect it to your Windows device or switch dock via the USB cable for better user experience. Oh, I don't get it. Plug the 2-point receiver into the charging dock. So HD Rumble is not supported, and nor is the NFC scanning, but that's to be expected. So if I read this correctly, no, okay, so you can connect directly with a USB-C cable, I'm guessing. Yeah, so the USB-C port on the top here. So this does support Bluetooth, but it doesn't seem like on the Windows side they're recommending that as a connection option. So I think I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these at the moment. Generally, I review the 8bitdo stuff on its own because I know there's a lot of viewer interest in that. So I'll probably continue to do that. What I'm trying to do right now is just figure out how to put it into different modes. So if I'm not mistaken here, On the Windows side, well, I'll try it and see what happens. Yeah, so the Skull said that you paired it with blue. Okay, so I guess it does work that way. Mr. Nate Dogg says, does the weak membrane cause mushiness in the D-pad? Yeah, the D-pad doesn't feel all that great. They've made better D-pads before. Like this one is a great D-pad. It looks similar, though. It feels different, though. Well, you know what? We're going to put it to the test. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't have an OTG cable available, I'm going to switch this into Bluetooth mode, which it's in right now. And we'll turn on my switch here. And I think what I'll do to be able to navigate on the switch is connect these Joy-Cons up. Because there is no, it doesn't indicate a button combination to put it into the pairing mode. Because all these other controllers that they used to made in the past would work that way. Oh, let's see. Press the home button on the controller. There it goes. Okay, so that came up. So what we'll do, we'll go back into Tetris 99 here, and we'll see how it does, especially on the D-pad side. Yeah, I might do a little test and just see, 'cause generally I found like it does do a little better when you're in 2.4 mode. There's less overhead. All right, let's see how we do now. Now this won't work, by the way, with the Xbox, so it's Switch or PC. And I've got a PC we can try it with in a minute. All right, I'm going to do better this time, I promise. You ready? Let's take a look. I take it slow. I put all the pieces in the right place. And once I get my pile driver, we will succeed. There we go. Like that didn't do any damage, though, to my opponents, because they were putting blocks down on me. There we go. See, now we're sending some damage out. Yeah, see now this is where the position I want to be in. If I can do some significant damage. And watch this, we're going to have another one go out in a second here. You watching? Boom. Yeah, now we're doing it. Boom, look at that one. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I was holding that one in reserve for like when I really wanted to drop the bomb on somebody, but... And so what's happening now is that I have a bunch of people that are targeting me, and when I have it set to attackers, I can send more junk pieces out. Oh, that was a controller misfire. Yeah, the D-pad feels, it's funny, the D-pad feels similar to what we were just playing with. And now I'm starting to screw up here. Yeah, I'm just going to try to get out of this mess I'm in. There we go. Oof. It's the beginning of the end. I hate when I go and put one in reserve and then I got the same piece that comes back out. It's never good. Can he do it? No. Yeah, so yeah, let's go back to Zelda and see how the diagonals work on that. Oh, that was a screenshot. So how do I get to my... Which button gets me back home? Is this one. There we go. Yeah, I would say, I would agree with you on this. And it's hard to say, you know, even though I got the two of them right next to each other, I will say the big difference that I see is the travel. Yeah, this one feels just a little better. And I think that might be the struggle they have, which is to try to come up with a controller that's modern, right? Because that's probably where the market is. See that? But you see what happened? All right, but you see that's doing better than the other one was doing. So I'm able to rock back and forth here without him moving around too much. You saw how bad it was on the other one. So that's actually pretty good. And I'm not being very precise in my movements either. So that's pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. So it just feels a little different, but the precision is there. So that's a good thing. So let me just go and add some notes here. So this is the 8bitdo Ultimate. And you know what I'm going to do here, just to save myself some time, is I'm going to record a quick round of B-roll. 8bitdo Ultimate. And then we'll take the PC out and see what we can do with the PC. All right. So that's with the stick. You see how precise that is, obviously. Let me get him into a better spot here. That's pretty good. And I am not being precise here at all. So I'm okay with that. Because even when you're not being all that precise, it's working pretty well. And then if I do an actual diagonal, this game doesn't move in diagonals, does it? It's only, yeah. So this moves pretty good. What I don't think, you all can correct me if I am wrong, I don't think Contra is in this NES collection, is it? No, it isn't. It's a very odd collection of games, right? I remember I bought this game when I was a kid, Double Dragon. And, oops. And I remember returning it because it was so expensive, and I think I finished it like the first night I had it or something. I remember going back to Caldor's, which is where I bought it from, to try to get a refund. I think they gave it to me. Yeah, so the diagonals work pretty good here. Yeah, it's fine. Maybe I just don't like the way it felt initially, but from a precision standpoint, it actually is pretty good. See how I'm moving diagonally here? Yeah, let me do a little B-roll on this front too. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this game was actually pretty good. Do 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 do. Yeah, not bad. I'm pleased with it. That is my determination here. And Ravaging Wolverine had the master. I'll have to play the master. I never played the Master System version. And I was a big Sega Master System proponent, and you would think I would have been all over that game. Because there was a few games that really showed the difference. I think Rampage was another one, right? But I do like my Analog Pocket, because I get everything kind of in that one, right? And James would rent them. Yeah, we had a couple of rentals that I would go for, too. I remember there was always, like, every time I went to the store, I was hoping that Zelda 2 would be there because it was so hard. Frank Cromer says, have I reviewed any 4K webcams? I don't think I have. I've looked at a few that I was not impressed. Actually, the one I did look at, the Logitech one, it's been out for a while, but it's a good one. The Logitech 4K, that one I reviewed, and I was pleased with it. But yeah, I like this so far. Okay, so now let's move on to, let's get the PC out. I have a gaming PC that is conveniently located just on the floor at the moment. So let me go pull that out of its spot here without killing myself here. Because I do want to see, I want to kind of see how it connects. And I got to find the right power supply for this PC. This PC requires a 300, I kid you not, 300 watt power supply. It's a bit of a monster. This is a Lenovo, and it has a 3070 on board. So it's a big beast. Look at the size of the power supply. That's the power supply, 300 watts. Isn't that nuts? And I think what I might do is plug it into my plug mold over here. Put it on its own circuit. All right. Okay. Now, why are we plugging this into a PC? Well, I am curious if it will connect over Bluetooth without having to change the mode. I think this controller is like smart enough to pick the mode that it's in. So I think that's what it does. And by the way, this PC is awesome. I love the display. I think it's got a, what is the, I think this display is 165 hertz. Yeah, 165 hertz, 2560 by 1600. So it's 16 by 10. And, oh, you missed it earlier. Yes, we got in the FC charging dock. So it does work. But all it does is charge the Joy-Cons. That's it. And only 2 of them. And that's the one, the Brio 4K is what I have. I have not reviewed Mechatronics or Explosion of Fun. But I would love to know what those are. And I have not tried a Powkiddy retro console. Although there's a lot of these illegal retro consoles out there that pair up some of these with copyrighted games and stuff. So that might be one of those, right? All right, so let's go to Bluetooth here, and I'm going to turn this on, but I'm going to hit the pairing button. And I'm curious what this shows up as. So I'm going to add device, go to Bluetooth, and let's see if it shows up on here. Input, that must be it. All right, we're good to go. Now, what does it show up as is the question. So I'm going to go, I have this little app that is in the Microsoft App Store. It's called Game Controller Tester, fittingly enough. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to plug some Ethernet into this business here. I got a 2.5 gig circuit right there, so we'll be able to download some stuff quickly. All right. Let me install this real quick. Because this will tell me what mode the controller is in. So what did you go? I'm curious, Mary Chunks, which one you went with. I don't mind the weight, to be honest with you, like compared to I used to have an Alienware, and this thing is so much lighter than what I had before. All right, let's open this up. Yeah, so this is showing up as X input. So it appears as though you don't have to change the mode of the controller anymore. So that's of interest. Yeah, we're looking at the 8bitdo controller. Now, what I'm going to do, because I'm fairly satisfied with its ability to control games, but what I am going to do is head over to the 8bitdo website, because they have a software thing for this. What is that? Dual charging dock. Wow, they got some cool stuff here. That's the ultimate for... So this is the one we have here, the ultimate Bluetooth controller. So does this not work with... Maybe it does, let's see. Because they have that software the ultimate software, I'm sure it works with that. Okay, so let's grab that. Yes, no. Ultimate Bluetooth controller, that's what I have here. Yeah, that's what I want. Oh, it's in the store. All right. Oh, it wants connection via USB in order for that to work. Well, I shall oblige. Now it's thinking. All right, well, here you go. Doesn't have much of a dead zone on these sticks. I'm barely moving it. Just a little bit. And then here's the triggers. It feels fairly consistent with what I've experienced with other 8bitdo controllers. And you got your macros over here. Yeah, I mean, it's the same software. And Ravaging Wolverine, they have come a long way, haven't they? I think they originally set out, what I like about what 8bitdo has done is that they started with something that was really about kind of the replica and the nostalgic appeal. And the controller was good, but it wasn't spectacular. And what I found over time is that they continually worked on the controller aspect while also doing the replica stuff. And it got better and better, didn't it? All right, so let me go into Game Pass here real quick just to see what we can put on this computer. Just going to have a quick game pop in there that I can demo later in the... Has anyone played this game, High on Life? It looks very funny. It's on Game Pass. Like your gun taunts you and stuff. I think it's from the people that make Rick and Morty or something. It looked funny. Let me see if... So my daughters and I have been into River City Girls, and the new one comes out tomorrow. So we're excited to play that tomorrow night. I'm trying to figure out what platform I want to get it on. What do I have on this machine, though? Let's see. I don't even know what I have installed on this. Yeah, it's good, Neil. I think, you know, I think it's going to be a matter of preference. So what I like about this one, where did it go? Is that they're coming into their own on the, I think, on trying to create a more mass appeal kind of controller. So this one now has a dock that you plug it into to charge it. Additionally, it has the 2.4 gigahertz connector here at the bottom. So you can get slightly faster wireless performance without having to pair it with Bluetooth. So this would work, you know, if you have like a Mister or something, would work with that. So it feels more as like, it doesn't have the nostalgic appeal or feel that this one does, right? So it's more of an Xbox style, whereas this one is more PlayStation style. But this one feels more modern to me than this one does. But the D-pad, as we tested, is actually pretty accurate. Although it doesn't feel as retro-y as the other one. And thank you for the tip on that, Neil, because I was going to play it with my daughters tonight, but maybe I'll play it myself first to make sure there's no language in there I don't want them hearing. Yeah, it's cool. My 9-year-old is starting to get into Star Wars and game. Like we've been having, it's been fun. She's become fascinated with the 80s, so I've been more than happy to oblige her on what the 80s was like as a kid. And Ravaging Wolverine says the Pro Plus D-pad has been fantastic. Is that what I have? I have this is the Ultimate. Yeah, so I still prefer the D-pad on the Pro 2, which is what I have here. All right, you know what? I'm not going to play that one with my kids then. I'll wait for River City Girls comes out tomorrow. So we'll play that one tomorrow. So I'll just load it up on my PC upstairs and do that. And, you know, this is the other thing, is that it's really a matter of preference, right? So Acrid here doesn't like the 8bitdo D-pads. I like them. I think they're pretty good in most cases. But I think it's a matter of what you're used to, right? Tim Davis wants to know if I had any issues with the 8bitdo Ultimate doing X input over Bluetooth? So far, no. It looks as though, and we actually just paired this one up that way. So let me unplug the USB again. So let me go back to my settings. If I go to Bluetooth, let me oh yeah, we are connected. Okay, so right now, according to my game controller tester, we are in X input mode because it's showing up here as an X input controller. Although view, back and start. I wonder why that's not picking up. Hang on a second. Because it's definitely picking it up as one. But usually, the back and start buttons are what enable this tester to start testing. Let's try the start testing. We'll select controller 1. But this is definitely X input, because if this wasn't, oh, you know something? The order of the buttons is not correct here. So it's like in the switch mode right now. See that? So it's showing up as X input, but the button mapping is all over the place. So let me go back then to let me turn it off and turn it back on again and see what happens. Because the big difference with this one is that I did not have to specify what I was connecting it to. So this app is called Game Controller Tester. And what I found with this one, it's free. And if it's not an X input controller, it doesn't show up. Yeah, so it's definitely got some issues here with button mapping in Bluetooth mode. So you know what I'm going to try now? Let me turn off the controller again. And I'm going to connect it over USB. And let's see what happens when I do it this way. And now, let's see, start testing, controller 1. And now it's correct. So it looks like the Bluetooth mode is where it's fouling up, which explains something. If I go back to the instructions, so if we look at the Windows section here, X input. For wireless, they are not, this is why they're not recommending Bluetooth. Because on Windows, it says wireless connection, connect the 2.4 receiver to the USB port and do that. Now, I guess you could go into the software and remap it, but that explains that. Oh, and Tim's tried to remap the controls, and it doesn't recognize any of the inputs. So I bet you that is why they are. I'm going to need to dig into this a bit more, but I think that's why they're not recommending Bluetooth connections here in the manual. So it looks like they tried to simplify things, but I don't know why they're doing that versus putting a switch on like they used to have on the old one. So what I loved about this controller is that I could just switch it to the device I was connecting to, and that was it. And I will say, BeigeBox, I do like the Switch Pro controller on the Switch, but I don't like its D-pad. That's my only complaint with that one. All right, so that's going to be something I need to research a little bit more. But I suspect that's why they're not recommending Bluetooth on Windows, which is why they want you to plug the dongle in here. So let's try that. And I'm going to bet you that's going to work just fine. So I'm going to plug in Mr. Dongle here. And then I'm going to switch this controller into 2.4G mode. And let's see what happens. I may need to turn it off and turn it back on again. Yep, it just came on. Yep. Yep, it's working. So I think that's the prescribed method here. Hey, it looks like our spammer is here. You know, I thought YouTube said they were making progress on this. I guess they haven't fixed that yet. And it looks like some other folks are having some issues with that as well in RetroArch. So it looks like the And this is a Legion. This is an older model now. This is the last year's Legion 5. And this has an AMD 5800U, I believe, and a 3070 GPU. I haven't actually benchmarked this one yet. Yeah, so I'm guessing what they want people to do is to either plug it in direct or use the dongle on... Oh, wait a second. You know what you could do? I get it now. Okay, so watch this. Let's try this. So here, the dongle, I'm going to dock it with the dock. And now I'm going to plug the dock into the computer. Let's see what happens when this goes on. All right, so now that's docked. Let me turn the controller on. Will it work? Aha. I think it might. No, it doesn't. Because there was an option to dock it. This thing's connecting to something, though, because it's lit up. Try it one more time. Maybe it's got to, like, configure itself. I'm in 2.4 mode here. It seems to be pairing up with something, but it doesn't seem to be connecting to the computer. Because I was looking at the bottom here, it may just be a storage port, but it doesn't look like just a dummy. Maybe they just have a connector on it to do that, because I'm sorry, I'm just reading through some things here. Oh. I have not updated the firmware, so let me do that and see if that might result in a different experience here. So let's try that. So let's go back to the 8bitdo website. So we'll download their firmware updater. This computer is so fast. It's also, I just recently set it up, so it's like just super, super quick here. 8bitdo firmware updater. I think I have to actually have the firmware updater on here too, but let's see. All right, let's see what it has on board and what version we're at. So my thoughts on this is for the Switch. So my thoughts on this, D-pad is terrible. It feels great though, it's really comfortable. But I'm not a fan of how, I mean, it feels a lot like a GameCube controller, and if that's what you like, then you'll like this. But from a modern game standpoint, we don't use the camera stick like we used to use on the GameCube. So it just feels a little disjointed to have two very different feeling sticks. They move differently, I think, just based on how they've configured them. They both click, but yeah, I'm not as crazy about it. And the D-pad, as we found, is not very accurate either, especially when you're trying to do rolling maneuvers. It feels, you know, it's true to the GameCube design and feel, but that comes at a price, I think. All right, let's see what happens when I plug this in. Now I've connected the controller, but it's not detecting it. Try it again here. Now I got to reboot the computer now. I may have upset the computer. Okay, let's do a quick reboot. And we'll try that again. Yeah, it's a nice one. I'm very pleased with it. And this is not the top of the line one, so it doesn't have Thunderbolt or USB 4, but this is their older one, so I think their new ones that are coming out will be a little more decked out. And the Legion 7s tend to be a little fancier and have the Thunderbolt connection on them, at least for the Intel versions. But what's nice is that, although it's not top of the line, the performance is pretty much up there. It's got a pretty beefy fan on it though, so if you got to get used to that on the gaming laptops. The fans are noisy. All right, let's do this. Maybe it has to be docked for the updater to update. I could very well have the wrong version of the software too. That could be another problem. But it is in 2.4 mode here. You know what's amazing is how many different Lenovo's there are. I have a pile of them here, as a matter of fact, and you're going to see a review of one probably in the next couple days that I just finished recording. Let me put it in the dock here and see if that fares better. Oop. It wasn't that way. All right, so I have docked it now. I think that was me. Yeah, let's try the other cable. I was using the cable that came with the charging thing, so let's try their cable and see if that fares any differently. I think it needs to be a direct connection to the controller, so let me plug that in real quick and see. Oh, now that worked. Didn't like the cable, because now the computer's beeping. All right, so there is a new firmware. Added calibration function, shortened the pairing time of switch mode, fixed abnormal vibration issue, fixed the unserviceable issue connected to Steam Deck via Bluetooth, optimized the accuracy of battery detection, fixed the abnormal disconnection issue on X input, added gyro calibration function from, okay. So there's definitely a firmware update going on. But I don't know, Tim Davis, if you are on firmware 1.03 or not. But that's what I'm putting in this one right now. So let's see if that changes the X input scenario here. Okay. Doing a lot of connection and disconnection here too. Let's see. So let's go back to 8bitdo software for Windows, because now there's a calibration function. which I didn't see before. Well, calibrate the device. So this would be for like doing the stick stuff. All right, so now let's see if we encounter the issue we had before. So I'm going to switch it back into Bluetooth mode. And actually, before I do that, I want to see what happens if we plug the dock in. Ah, wait a second. Let's go to 2.4G mode here. Let's power it back up. Aha. So you can put the dongle in the dock and connect the dock to the computer. Let's see if my theory holds true. Yes. All right, so now we have the dongle in the dock connected to the computer, and yeah, and the controller is working just fine. Not on Bluetooth, though. But that's through the dock with the dongle in the dock. So you don't have to plug the dongle in separately, and then you've got a convenient charging option. Now, when you dock, it disconnects the controller. Turns it off, but it presumably starts charging, I think. Yeah, so the charging light is on. And if I take it out, let's see if it pairs. Yep, back in business. Pretty cool. So there you go. All right, so that's that. Hang on one second here. Okay, so that is that. All right, so now, by the way, I have been exposed now directly to COVID like 2 or 3 times, like close up, so we'll see how long I can last for here. I just got word from a friend of mine who I was with the other night who just tested positive, so. All right, so now I'm going to unplug this, and I want to do Bluetooth mode. And go to settings. And let's see if that firmware update impacted the button mapping on the Bluetooth side. So I'm back in Bluetooth mode. And we are reconnected. And it's showing up again here. Okay, so that, yeah, so the button mapping issue, yeah, the buttons are totally off. Yeah, so, and also it doesn't register with an analog stick here either. It's just a straight up digital. See that? So the analog sticks are fine. But so it does not appear to rectify the issue. So I think that's why in the instructions they're recommending what they are. All right. Well, I think I've got a good feel for this now. So it's kind of cool. You can use the dock as a wireless dock on anything you plug it into. So that's a nice feature. And then it charges up. So you just put it back on there and you're good to go. So the switch, I'm guessing, is going to require Bluetooth. That's probably how they delineated it. Because I was curious, because on the other one, what you had to do was flick the switch to specify what mode you wanted to be in. All right, so let's shut this down for a minute. And then we're going to try the game vice, because I got to get moving here. It's almost... I'm going to have hungry children in a few minutes. And if I don't feed them at the appropriate time, and a hungry wife who gets hangry. So I got to make sure everybody is fed. And nobody tell my wife I just said that. She gets hangry. Okay, so now we're going to look at these Game Vice controllers. Now these, by the way, are the same as the Razer Kishi, I think was the controller. Those Razer controllers that were out last year that I looked at. So Razer doesn't make them anymore, but this was the company that was making them for them. And I'm not going to have time for the iPhone version, but we will try the Android one real quick. Just going to try to get into it here. All right. And it was funny, this friend of mine, he was like a little sniffly the other night, and I totally jinxed it. I leaned over to him and I said, it's not the Rona, is it? And it turned out it was. So now we'll see how I fare here. All right, let's get this opened up here. So I had it almost exactly a year ago was when I caught it. So it was... Let's open this up here. That's not very nice, tricky. All right, there we go. So this feels almost exactly like the Razer version. Although the Razer one had larger sticks on it. Now this has a few controller adapters, and so what I'm going to do actually is test it with this Google phone. This is with the case on it, probably the largest phone I have in the repertoire here. So, and what it has in the box, oh wow, it has, look at this. This is pretty complicated. So they have a case adapter selector. And so in the box, look at this. There's a bunch of different phone adapters for different size cases. So let's see how this works. Case adapter selector, start. I don't even know how to even... Oh, it has instructions on the back here. Okay. Boy, this is pretty heavy duty here. Install. Okay, so I guess you got to do it this way. Oh, I see. So what does... Okay, so you find I think probably the tightest fit. So L50 is not going to cut it for mine. But I think L35, which is number 1 here, is going to work on mine. And these are the bigger ones. So I'm going to try L35, which is adapter number 1. I don't understand what I'm reading here. Oh, I see, 1 and 2. So it's 1 and 2 together. So this is the left side adapter. Oh my goodness, there's like 3 of them in here. Oh, I see, within box 1, I need to find, okay. So L35 inside of box 1. And how do I know which one is L35? Is it labeled on here somewhere? Boy, they didn't mess around here. Like, they really didn't mess around here. They wanted to make sure that this phone was going to fit. All right, so we've got this one. I'll try. I wonder if the iPhone one has the same number of adapters in it. And then I need, in box 2, for the right side, I need R20A. All right. Yeah, we have, so in my daughter's class, by the way, James, my daughter had COVID last week, or the week, yeah, last weekend, I think. Yeah, she was out all last week. She was fine. She was kind of sick for 2 days, you know, a little bit hit with it. And then her friend, so she sits like in their school, they sit at these tables together, or like the desks are near each other. So the kid next to her got the flu, and the other kid on the other side of her had strep throat. It's like they all were sick, but had different illnesses. So it's been very disruptive. The teacher was out, so there's a lot of stuff going around all at once. But my little one had COVID earlier this year in the school year, and she didn't catch it at school, believe it or not. She caught it at my father's, at a party my father was doing. And so she was sick for like a day with that, and then she caught the RSV like 3 days after that. By the way, you get a Game Pass Ultimate thing here. Okay, so we got that in there. So now we have our adapters chosen. I'll give these guys credit though, like they thought about the case problem, because that was one of the big issues with the other one. Now, hopefully I'm going to put this in the right way. You all know me and my instructions. We don't need no stinking instructions. So where do these things latch onto? So if I just put it in blind here without any, yeah, it's going to flop around a lot. I'm just trying to figure this out. So if you got like a big honking phone, like this thing will fit perfectly. So you're going to need to like keep these adapters around as you upgrade your phone. The good thing though, oh, it has the instructions here. The good thing about this is that as you upgrade your phone, you don't have to worry about the case not fitting. So good on them for like coming up with all these different molds to make the phone fit. I don't remember seeing that on the Razer version of this. So this is kind of like a one-shot deal, although it's going to make it more complicated if you have multiple phones that you're trying to connect to it with. And I screwed up. I'm trying to get it to latch into this little track on here. There it goes. Okay, so that one's in. And then this one goes this way. And they have these little tracks that they slide into. Okay. So let's see how well that measurement played out here. Yeah, fits pretty good. Fits pretty good. Very clever. Very clever. And on the bottom, you have a headphone jack and a charging port, which I think I'm going to use because this phone is probably dead at this point. So we'll test that out. But you do have a headphone out on there. So let's let that charge for a minute. And while we're doing that, let me open up the other one. And we'll see how we do there. And Frank Mula is here. Yeah, welcome aboard. We're almost done because I have to prepare dinner for the family shortly. I got three hungry ladies upstairs, so once we hit like 5-ish is when I start getting summoned. So we may have to cut this short, but. Well, that's short. We've been on for a while now. The good news is we didn't lose the stream at all, I think, today, right? We're at, yeah, we made it through the first 55-minute mark there without too many issues. Okay, so this is the iPhone version. So I am very happy with what they've done here because, you know, we'll see how the controls play out. But insofar as, yeah, they did the same thing here too. So if you have an iPhone with a case, look at that. They got it all covered. Very, very thoughtful. Because that was the problem with the Backbone. See, this is what competition's about, right? Like the Backbone controller, which is an awesome controller. If you have a case on your phone, no go. You cannot get it to work because you have to take the phone out of the case. Here, they thought about the case. So this is the biggest phone that I've got that has a case on it, and it fits great. It fits perfectly in here. So the fit is good. I guess the question is, what about the gameplay? And so that we shall explore right now real quick, if I am able to before people start looking for me. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. And Frank says, oh, just got around to taking my break at work. Got a DS5, a PS5 I'm assuming, and an XB series controller. Or is it a DS5 or an XB? I'm not sure what you're referring to. So help me. It sounds like you got a good deal on it. And yep, the phone clip works great too. Yeah, I think that one works pretty nicely too, the phone clip thing, especially on this controller, because if you're using their other one, I found that it got too top heavy, but this one, because it's got the handles on it, it works really well. Yeah, Recipe Bob's got to take his off. Now, what's interesting about these, Frank Mula, oh, DualSense 5, got it. So what's interesting about these, and I was not aware of this, but this company, GameVice, was making the Razer Kishi. So these are, for all intents and purposes, the Razer Kishi, but from the company that was actually manufacturing it. And I guess Razer is not making the Kishi anymore, from what I understood from what they emailed me about. That's my understanding. So I don't know if that's what's happening or not, but that's what they told me. But yeah, these are basically the new Razer Kishi, and I can tell you right out of the gate, this fits a lot better. And I like the thumbsticks; they're not as big, so that's an improvement. But it fits. I mean, it fits nice, like really nicely in it. And I'm going to guess the same will be true of the iPhone version. I don't even know what I just agreed to. I need to look at the. You know, I just did something really bad, which was not paying attention. All right, let's see how this works. Oops. No. I think I have to watch an ad real quick. Yeah. I will put an emulator on here to start it off in a little bit. What am I doing? I am falling for every trick in the book here. Okay. I'm just curious to see how the D-pad works on this one. But I will load up the Nintendo. So I think Zelda's a good one to check those errant diagonals. There's a lot of range to the D-pad. But it otherwise feels pretty good. And this is a wired connection, so it's not going to rely on Bluetooth or anything. And I found over the years that Android has a little bit more input lag, perhaps, than many of us would like. So you're going to have that as a bit of overhead. But I'm sorry, my camera keeps going out of focus. It feels good. Yeah, not bad. All right. Not bad at all. This phone actually is a Pixel 4, I want to say. Yeah, Pixel 4. They had these really nice cases. This is like the biggest phone that I have. So I like to try this one out with these game controllers to see how they fit. So this is not the new Pixel, but I will try to find the case that I think my Pixel came with a case somewhere. Maybe the Pixel 6. I have a large phone with another case, but this is like my biggest phone in the fleet, if you will. All right, so let me see. I don't know if I have RetroArch on here or not. Let's see. Here's RetroArch. Let's see if I have anything on here. Oops. I'm just looking to see if I have what ROMs I have available on this sucker. So I have Truxton. Yeah, let's put some Truxton on here. Feels pretty good on the diagonals here. Yeah. You know, like the Kishi, it suffers a little bit with that flex here, but it's not as bad. And I think you could probably correct that flex if you try a different adapter. But I'm pretty happy with this, actually. It feels pretty good. If I can make the screen brighter here. Oops, wrong button. And I got to get rid of the on-screen thing, I know, but yeah, I mean it feels good. And again, I'm just using the D-pad here. I'll have to do some more testing on the analog sticks, but yeah, pretty good. Not bad at all. All right. Well, I think I've got enough to start with here. So these actually, I'm pretty happy with it. It's a definite improvement fit-wise over the Kishi because of the effort they made on those adapters. So that's good stuff. All right. Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's not going to fit a tablet. So the maximum that this will go from a stretchy standpoint is, here, I'll show you, is that far. So if you have like an iPad, it's not going to fit in there. And I think when this controller first, when I reviewed the Kishi, I tried to fit my iPad mini in there and it didn't fit. So this size phone is about, it'll go up to like the Galaxy Note size kind of phone, and that's about it. Yes, I think you're right, Frank Mula. I wish I was better at Street Fighter, that I could test that reliably. So there was a 4A. So there was a 4A and a 5A, believe it or not. The 5A didn't get a lot of attention. But there was a 4A, and I think I still have a 4A somewhere in this mess down here. The problem is my kids keep finding these phones, because my kids both want phones. And I'm like, you're not having a phone, you're too young. But it's hard to say you can't have a phone when I've got a room full of phones just sitting here. And they've not been happy with Dad over that ruling. So, all right, well, we got through everything, and I'm going to do a little bit more work on all this stuff, but I have enough to keep me busy tomorrow, I think. So I'm going to be probably shooting some reviews of these devices tomorrow. Oh, well, let's see if it folds back up here. So then when you're done with it, it folds up. So the build quality maybe doesn't feel quite as nice as the Razer version did, but from a control standpoint, it feels like it's pretty good still. So I got some more homework to do on that one, but we will investigate. One other thing I wanted to check on the iPhone version is, yes, the iPhone version has a headphone jack also, but this is for the Lightning connector. See that? So up until Apple changes their requirements, and I'm pretty sure that the Apple ecosystem does not support analog triggers, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, I think it's the same deal. Pretty cool. Well, I was surprised by that. Yeah, the 5A came out right around COVID time. So they never released, like you couldn't buy the phone on Amazon, for example, so it never showed up on Amazon. It was there like from a third-party seller. But yeah, so the 5A, and it wasn't much of like a difference from the 4A, but the 6A is great. So like the 6A I consider a real upgrade. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to depart for now, but look for my video tonight. We've got a 37-minute tutorial on hyper backup and snapshot replication on Synology NAS devices. That's going to be a fun one. So be on the lookout for that. And I will be seeing you on the next stream. And I want to thank everyone for their participation. I know we got one super chat today. And I wanted to thank Yum Raisin for your super chat earlier. So thank you all for tuning in. All right, we'll catch you on the next one, everybody. And I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.